Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today I'm sharing some super easy Halloween slimline cards. In our Christmas in July hop last month, I made some fun and gorgeous slimline Christmas cards using one of the paper packs that I had left over from last year. So I decided to do the same with one of my Halloween packs. I hadn't even opened this one, and aren't the papers just so spooky? I love it. In this pack, there were only a couple of page designs that I think will work well for a scene that I can add to a slimline. They're too wide to add to an A2 card, but I won't have to cut away too much of it for it to fit on a slimline. The first one that I'm using is this cemetery scene with a ghost. It's a 12 by 12 page, so I'll cut it down to 3.5 by 8.5, so it'll fit on the front of my slimline card, and I'm using my Fiskars Rotary trimmer for that. I'm keeping most of the design, and I'll probably use the scraps for another project. I've also cut a 3.5 by 8.5 piece of black cardstock to act as a mat. So I'll trim the main panel down by 1/4 of an inch on both the short and long sides using my Fiskars bypass trimmer. This will give me a 3.25 by 8.25 inch panel. Now, using my Dotliner, I'll adhere the front panel onto the black mat. I like to have the matte layer showing a bit thinner than this, so I'm using my Fiskars 9-inch bypass trimmer to trim a little off of each edge. One thing I love about this trimmer is that it is so easy to get that super skinny border by just lining up the main image with the edge of the finger guard. And then next I'll adhere this all onto the front of a slimline card base. The card base is just a touch longer than I needed, so I just trimmed off the excess. I want a little shimmer to this, so I'm adding some shimmer using a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, and I'm adding that onto the ghost in there and onto the tombstones. Then for sentiment, I'm pulling out one of my old Halloween sentiment sets from Recollections. I'll stamp the sentiment in the lower right hand corner of that panel with my Memento Tuxedo black ink. Now on to the second card. This one is a creepy haunted house. I trimmed it down the same way that I did the first by cutting the panel to 3.5 by 8.5, even though I know it will be needing to be a little bit smaller. That way I have a little wiggle room if I make a mistake cutting. I didn't have another card base ready, so I cut a piece of Michael's Heavyweight cardstock down to 8.5 by 7 inches. Then I scored it at 3.5 inches, creating an 8.5 by 3.5 inch card base. I followed all of the same steps that I did for the first card for this card in matting the main panel. So I adhered the main panel down onto the black mat, trimmed it down, and then adhered both panels to my new Slimline card base. For this card, I'm adding shimmer to just the little ghosts. I decided to add the same sentiment to this card and in the same place. Since that area though is so dark, I'm using Hero Art's Unicorn White ink for the sentiment. Now that the cards are done, I need some envelopes. I'm taking some 65-pound black cardstock from Michael's, and I'm not using a die or a template. I'm starting off by just scoring about 3/4 of an inch from the end, and then I'm using my card to show me how long I actually need the envelope to be. So I am just scoring a little past the edge of the card, and then I'll trim off the end later. Then I'm rotating the cardstock so I can score on the long end, and I'm scoring that at about 2 inches. I'll take my card again to measure and go ahead and score my cardstock. Next, I'll trim away the parts we don't need. The scoring created a small rectangle in each of the 4 corners, and I'll trim all of those away. And then I'll round all of the corners. To adhere it all together, I'm using some double-sided adhesive tape. And the card is a perfect fit. Here there is a quick look at the finished cards. I hope that you're inspired to get going on your Halloween crafting, and I would love to see what you create. So come join my Facebook group, Crafting with Debbie, and show us your creations. I've left a link down in the description box. Oh, and if you make anything using ideas from one of my Halloween videos, please post a pic and tag me at hashtag Debbie J's Crafting Corner and at hashtag DJCC Halloween 2020. You can also see all of my Halloween videos for 2020 for clicking on the hashtag DJCC Halloween 2020 down in the video title. Here are some other videos that you may be interested in. Thank you so much for dropping by, and remember, if I can make it, you can too.